A poor young student marries a 50-year-old blind millionaire woman. But just 7 days later, he stumbles upon a secret in her study that changes everything he thought he knew about love, sacrifice, and destiny. He was only 22, a struggling student, carrying the weight of debts and hunger on his shoulders. She was 50, blind since childhood, yet a woman of grace, wisdom, and quiet strength. Their marriage was whispered about in town, judged by many, but he accepted it with respect. In his heart, for 7 days, life was simple. He helped her walk through the garden, described the colors of flowers, and read her favorite books aloud at night. Her touch was gentle, her voice calm, but her silence often carried a mystery. On the 7th morning, he entered her private study, a room she had never allowed him to clean or arrange. The heavy wooden door creaked, and the faint smell of lavender filled the air. Books lined the walls, their golden edges shining in the sunlight that streamed through tall windows. On the desk, however, lay something he had never expected. Stacks of old journals, each filled with her handwriting, every line describing not just her thoughts, but also the life of a young man, his life. The words told of his struggles at the university, the nights he slept hungry, and even the secret tears he shed when no one was watching. He froze. How could she know all of this, when she had never seen his face, never walked through his past, never witnessed his pain? His heart raced, and a chill ran down his spine. Yet his eyes softened with wonder. The blind woman had been following his journey for years, quietly supporting him through hidden scholarships and anonymous donations. She had known him long before. He knew her. And now, standing in that study, the poor student realized that the marriage was never about wealth. It was about love, sacrifice, and a kindness that had been watching over him all along. His hands trembled as he picked up one of the journals. The ink had faded on some pages, but every word was written with such care, as if she had poured her soul into each sentence. Tears blurred his vision as he read how she prayed for his success, how she celebrated quietly when he passed his exams, and how her heart ached when he went to bed hungry. He could almost hear her voice in those words, guiding him even when he never knew she existed. He closed the journal gently and turned to see her standing in the doorway. She held her cane lightly, her head tilted as though she could sense his emotions without sight. Her lips curved into a faint smile. "You found them, did you not?" she asked softly. His throat tightened. "You knew me long before this marriage," he whispered. She nodded, her expression calm yet filled with hidden warmth. "I may not have eyes to see the world, but I have a heart that sees people more clearly than sight ever could." His chest heaved with emotion. The weight of judgment from society, the whispers of neighbors, the doubt in his own heart, all of it melted away in that moment. He walked towards her slowly, each step heavy with realization, until he stood just inches away. Her fragile hand reached out, searching, and he guided it to his cheek. Her touch was tender, like a mother's comfort and a lover's devotion woven together. Why would you do all this for me?" His voice cracked with disbelief. Her blind eyes glistened, as if they held invisible tears. "Because I once knew hunger. I once knew loneliness. And I once prayed that someone would see me, not my weakness, not my blindness, but me." His breath caught, and for the first time, he felt the true meaning of wealth. One that gold and property could never buy. He fell to his knees, unable to hold back the storm inside his chest. Her hands stayed on his face, steady and full of comfort, as if she had been waiting for this moment all her life. "I thought I was rescuing myself by marrying you," he whispered, his voice trembling. "But it was you who rescued me long before this." She lowered herself carefully onto the chair beside him, her cane resting against the wall. "You have given me something greater than all my years of wealth," she said gently. "You gave me companionship, laughter, and the sound of footsteps that no longer echo in an empty house." His tears fell freely, landing on the floor as he held her hand tightly in his own. The silence between them was filled with the warmth of unspoken truths, a bond stronger than promises. In that stillness, he understood that love was not about age, nor about sight, nor about riches. It was about two hearts finding each other, even in the most unexpected ways, and in that discovery, his world finally felt whole. He lifted her hand and pressed it against his heart, letting her feel the rapid beat beneath his chest. Her lips curved into a soft smile, as if she could hear the truth his words could not express. "You are my reason now," he whispered, her face tilted slightly upward, the sunlight streaming through the window brushing against her silver hair. For the first time, he noticed how radiant she looked, not in the way of youth, but in the glow of a soul that had loved deeply and selflessly. She spoke quietly, her voice steady. "Promise me one thing. Do not waste the life that was given to you. Live it fully, with courage, with kindness, and with faith." He swallowed hard, nodding as he held her hand tighter. "I promise," he said with conviction. The room grew still again, but this time it was not heavy with secrets. It was filled with peace. The kind that comes when two hearts finally understand each other. He knew then that his life would never be the same, and for the first time, the poor student felt truly rich. She gently traced his fingers with her own, memorizing every line as if they were the most precious map in the world. "You are trembling," she whispered, sensing his emotions without needing to see them. He laughed softly through his tears, his voice breaking. "I am trembling because I never knew someone could care for me this much." Her smile deepened, carrying both sorrow and joy. "You will learn," she said, "that love is not about what we take, but about what we give." He rested his forehead against her hand, his heart calm for the first time in years. The ticking of the old clock on the wall seemed slower, as though even time was pausing to honor the moment. Outside, the garden swayed with the gentle breeze, the fragrance of roses drifting through the open window. It was as if the world itself wanted to embrace them. In that stillness, he realized he no longer carried the burden of being a poor student. He was now a man with a purpose, a man who had found a love that would guide him for the rest of his life. He lifted his head and looked at her, his eyes shining with devotion. "I want to be the one who protects you now," he said firmly. Her expression softened, and though her eyes could not see, they seemed to glow with light. "I do not need protection from the world," she replied gently. "I only need someone who will walk beside me, step by step, without fear or shame." His heart swelled, and he clasped her hands tightly between his own. "Then that is what I will do," he said with certainty. "No matter where life takes us, I will walk with you." Her lips trembled into a smile, and for a moment, she seemed years younger, her spirit shining brighter than gold. The weight of loneliness that had haunted her for decades seemed to fade in that instant. She leaned closer, resting her head lightly on his shoulder, trusting him completely. The warmth of her presence filled him with strength, and he knew he had found not only a wife, but a partner, a guide, and a soul who understood him more deeply than anyone ever could. They sat together, in silence, their breaths rising and falling in gentle rhythm. Her head rested peacefully on his shoulder, and he felt a sense of belonging he had never known before. For the first time in his life, the future did not seem frightening. It seemed like a journey worth taking. As long as she was by his side, she whispered softly, almost like a prayer, "Thank you for not seeing me as broken." He closed his eyes, tightening his hold around her hand. "You are not broken," he said with quiet strength. "You are the most complete person I have ever met." Her lips curved into a tender smile, and a tear slipped down her cheek. It fell onto his hand, warm and delicate, sealing the bond they had built in that moment. Two hearts that had once been lonely finally beat as one. Years passed, gently filled with quiet mornings in the garden, evenings of shared laughter, and countless days where love replaced every shadow of loneliness. He completed his studies, not as a poor student anymore, but as a man whose heart was guided by gratitude and purpose. She remained his greatest source of strength. Her blindness never a limitation, but a reminder that true vision lies in the soul. Together, they faced the whispers of the world. Yet, their bond silenced every doubt, and when people looked at them with surprise, he would smile and say, "I was searching for success, but she taught me the meaning of life." Their story did not end with wealth or status, it ended with something far greater to souls finding light in each other, and proving that love, in its purest form, has no boundaries of age, sight, or time.